Hey guys, how are we? Try and do a short video, and I'm going to try and keep this short, sweet, and positive, and end it because it's not an easy video to shoot, to be honest. And I've shot this about 6 times today, and look, I'm very concerned, to be honest. And the reason why I'm concerned is I'm looking at articles, particularly. Like there's one article I read today from the ABC, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. I'll put a link in the description below. And while I'm at it, if you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, then do that, helps me out. And you know, I'll try and help people out wherever I can. That's my heart. That's what I'm trying to do, is just give people a heads up, right? The light's getting dark here, so it's getting very late. And it's been a wild week or so. You know, we've had a family member is very sick at the moment, and my wife's headed off overseas to be with them. I'm here by myself, so, but anyway. Look, this article that I read today was about New Zealand being a window into Australia's future. What they're talking about is inflation, the cost of housing, future interest rates, and how Australia is going to tackle that. Look, at the end of the day, it's all crap. And if you are trained in economics to any degree, you know it's crap. They're talking about one of the causes of inflation is supply chain shortages. And that might be a minor factor, but that's not the cause of inflation. Milton Friedman, and you can Google this yourself, and I strongly advise that you do that. Google Milton Friedman inflation. Have a look on YouTube. And Milton Friedman will tell you, and he's one of the top, or was one of the top economists in the world, there is only one reason for inflation, and that is the central bank and the government printing too much money, adding too much money to the M1 money supply, right? So that's it. Supply chain issues, we all know about supply chain issues. It's not going to put inflation up to the extent that it has. I know they're talking about inflation at the moment in Australia around 6.9% and blah, blah, blah. And I wonder where all this inflation is going to go. When's it going to stop? Let me tell you where inflation is going to stop. And all the theatrics and all the BS aside that the ABC is going on with, inflation is going to, interest rates are going to be 2% above what the official inflation rate is. And at the moment in Australia, I think it's around 6.95. I have heard estimates it's above 11%. So imagine 13% on your house mortgage. So that's, as I said, I'm not wanting to be the bearer of bad news. And I've been lampooned on multiple occasions because people have said to me, oh, what's it like not having properties in Australia and you're missing out on all that capital growth? I mean, this is just a fool's errand. The people who say that are idiots, and they genuinely do not understand how things work. So basically, I got out of the property market some time ago. We sold our last property in Australia at the end of last year, and property prices should be 3 to 4 times the average yearly income. At the moment in Australia, in some places they're between 20 and 30 times, in other places even higher than that. The other thing that you're going to see is inflation in New Zealand. It's even higher than that again. So, and we know from 500 years of global data that house prices should be 3 to 4 times the average yearly income. So we know that. You cannot beat the maths, and you are not going to beat the maths. I'm sorry to tell you that. You are going to lose out if you think that you're going to beat the maths. 500 years of historical data, it's just the way that economies work. So, as I said, not wanting to be the bearer of bad news, but there's a lot of delusional people out there that think that they've hit the jackpot. They're in the money. And I've got a friend who has multiple properties, leveraged the first and second property to buy the third, and I'm a millionaire. I've got $1.5 million in debt. I just feel sorry for people like that because they genuinely don't understand how things work. And people have put me down in the past saying, oh, you're too conservative. That type of economics doesn't work anymore. And, you know, and look, this doesn't end well. And as I said, I can tell you what the interest rate should be. They should be about 2% above what the inflation rate is. You have to get your head around that. I know, and even my wife is a big believer in, oh, you know, just buy property and hold it. Well, if you haven't paid cash for a property, you're in big trouble because you're going to have to pay it back at those increased rates. The other thing that really concerns me at this point in time is developing economies that have borrowed a lot of money. They not only have to pay back at increased interest rates because the global interest rates are going up to stem off inflation, but they're also going to have to use more and more of their local currency to buy US dollars to pay the debt down. It's a double whammy. That's what's coming. So you look at Sri Lanka at the moment, that's coming to a lot of economies around the world. A lot of developing economies are going to be in absolute turmoil, and there's going to be a lot of governmental, political upheaval. That's what's coming. So if you haven't actually got your head around this at this point in time, I strongly suggest you should have quite a bit of food stashed away so you are not desperate hunting around for food when things get really difficult. If you are in a developing economy, you need to have plans to extricate yourself if you need to do that, or how to hunker down and remain in location for an extended period of time. You need to think about this now, because I think before the end of this year, this is going to get very, very difficult. So just keep that in mind. And we know Gerard Celente has been saying this for a long while. When everything else fails, they take you to war. I think we're already in World War III. I've said that for the last 6 months. There's certain geopolitical indicators there saying that we've got some big, big problems brewing. And as I said, I'm not wanting to be the bearer of bad news, but you know, I've got to call a spade, not a digging implement. If I don't tell you exactly the way that I see it, then I'm not being honest with you. And I don't think the ABC and some of these news outlets are actually being honest with you at this point in time. A lot of what they're saying is just absolute BS. It's crap. And the problem is that when people are untruthful with you in these sort of circumstances, the consequences are extremely dire. So I'm just wanting to put that on your radar. I don't know what your solution is going to be if you are in debt with multiple mortgages and they're all leveraged one on top of another. Be careful, because as soon as you default on one mortgage, the entire portfolio goes. And you know, as I said, there's big problems brewing. So anyway, look, wanting to be positive, but there's no other way that I can slant that. That's just, I've got to be straight up and down with you. That's the way I see it. And if I don't tell you honestly what it is that I believe is happening, then, you know, what good is that? You know, switch off and unsubscribe to the channel if that's the case, because, yeah, I mean, look, conservative, traditional economics is where it's at. This leverage position crap is just, it's danger, and it's going to come back and bite people. And that has been what, you know, even when I was studying finance and economics, they were saying, well, why would you just have your own money? If you can borrow money and leverage that, then you can leverage your income. So you borrow as much money as you can, like a hedge fund. That's a fool's errand, and I don't play that way. So look, at the end of the day, guys, if you're out of the market or you're wanting to get into the property market, sit back, hold tight, keep your powder dry. That means keep your cash there, or your gold and your silver. And if you own property, good for you, sit on it, because this is all about one system collapsing and then bringing out a new financial system at either 10, 20, 30 or 100 times the current value. That means that if you've got $100 in the bank, it could be worth $1 in this next system that comes out. I don't know what the system was going to be, so I'm just surmising. But that's what they did in Germany after World War I. And they effectively eliminated 9/10 of Germany's World War I debt. War reparations by bringing out the Reich mark at 10 times the value. So someone asked me the other day, where do you get all your information from? Can you tell me? It comes from education and a lot of research and a lot of study. It's just history. That's what it is. Anyway, guys, going to leave that there. If you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, then do that. And I will endeavor to get another video out tomorrow, keep you guys up to date. But I will put a link to that article that really annoyed me in the description below. And if you're after a good bank, then strongly recommend Wise, and put the description in there as well. So, all right, guys, going to leave it there. Love you and leave you, and speak to you soon.